Next topic is dual nature of radiation. The phenomena like interference, diffraction, and polarization, etc., can be explained on the basis of wave nature of light. On the other hand, phenomena like photoelectric effect, Compton effect, etc., can be explained only in the terms of quantum theory of light, that is, by assuming particle nature of light. This shows that light radiation has dual nature, that is, it sometimes behaves like a wave and sometimes as a particle. Next is dual nature of matter, that is de Broglie waves. In 1924, French physicist Louis de Broglie put forward the bold hypothesis that material particle in motion should display wave-like properties. His reasoning was based on the following two considerations. First, the two physical quantities which govern all the forms of physical universe are mass and energy. According to Einstein mass-energy relationship, E is equal to mc square, shows there is a complete equivalence between the matter, that is called mass, and radiation, which is called energy. There must be a mutual symmetry between matter and radiation. Second, nature loves symmetry. Since radiation has dual nature, therefore, from symmetry consideration, de Broglie predicted that matter must also possess dual nature. Thus, the particles like electrons, protons, neutrons, etc., should not only behave like mass points, but they should also exhibit wave nature when in motion. So, what is de Broglie wavelength? The waves associated with the material particles. Which material particles? Like electrons, protons, neutrons, etc., in motion are called matter or de Broglie waves, and the wavelength is called de Broglie wavelength. Next is derivation of de Broglie wavelength. According to Planck's quantum theory, the energy of photon of radiation of frequency nu and wavelength lambda is E is equal to h nu. So this is number 1 equation. Here h is called Planck's constant. If the photon is considered to be a particle of mass m and energy associated with it, according to Einstein mass energy relationship, E is equal to mc square. So this is equation number 2. So from equation number 1 and number 2 we get h nu equal to mc square. The value of m is equal to h nu upon c square. Take this equation number 3. As each photon moves with same velocity, that is c, means moves with speed of light, the momentum of photon is momentum p is equal to mass into velocity. So p equal to mass, the value of mass from equation number 3 is h nu upon c square, and the velocity of photon is c. So the momentum equal to h nu upon c. As we know, nu, that is frequency, is equal to c upon lambda. Lambda is wavelength. So p is equal to h upon lambda. So the value of lambda is h upon p. So which is again equal to h upon mc. Momentum, according to definition of momentum, momentum is mass into velocity. Here velocity of photon is c. So this equation has been derived for photon of radiation. According to de Broglie hypothesis, it must be true for material particles like electrons, protons and neutrons, etc. If a material particle of mass m, which is moving with velocity v, must be associated with the matter wave of wavelength lambda. So the wavelength lambda is equal to h upon p, which is again is equal to h upon m v. So this is called de Broglie wave equation for material particle. Next topic is de Broglie wavelength of an electron. Consider an electron of mass m and charge E. Let v be the velocity required by an electron when accelerated from rest through a potential difference of V volt. Means when a potential difference of V volt is applied across an electron, it will acquire velocity V. So, the kinetic energy gained by moving electron is equal to the work done on the electron by the electric field. So the gain in kinetic energy of electron is equal to half mv square. So take this equation number 1. Work done on the electron is equal to E into V. Here V represent the potential. So from equation number 1 and 2, half mv square is equal to EV. So small v, that is velocity, is equal to under root 2ev upon m. So take this equation number 3. If lambda is a de Broglie wavelength associated with electron, then lambda is equal to h upon p, which is again equal to h upon mv. On comparing equation number 3 and 4, we get last expression for lambda is h upon under root 2mev. Capital V represent the potential which is applied across the electron which is moving in a particular material. So by substituting the value of h, that is Planck's constant, mass of the electron and charge of the electron in equation number 5, we get the expression, last expression for lambda, that is wavelength, is equal to 12.27 upon under root V into 10 raised to power minus 10 meter. In angstrom unit, lambda is equal to 12.27 or 12.3 upon under root V angstrom. Next is experimental demonstration of wave nature of electrons. Davison and Germer experiment. Davison and Germer designed an experiment to study the wave properties of the electrons. The electrons emitted by hot tungsten filament of an electron gun are accelerated by applying a suitable potential difference V between the cathode and anode. So this is basically an electron gun which produces electron by thermonic emission from this filament. This filament is maybe made up of tungsten or any other metal, and thermonic emission of the electrons from this electron gun takes place by hitting this filament. So the potential difference of high tension battery is applied between the anode and cathode. So the fine beam of electrons from this electron gun is directed against the face of nickel crystal. The crystal is capable of rotating about an axis perpendicular to the direction of plane of paper. The electrons scattered in different direction by the atoms of nickel crystal are received by this movable detector, which is just an electron collector. So we can measure scattered electron intensity as the function of scattering angle phi and the angle between incidence and the scattered electron beam. So here phi represents the scattering angle and theta represents the angle between electron beam and the atomic planes of the crystal. D, the distance, here D represent the distance between the atomic planes in the crystal of nickel. The above experiment is repeated for different accelerating potential V. From figure 11.15a to E shows that result of Davison and Germer experiment when the accelerating voltage was varied from 44 volt to 68 volt. Clearly, there is a strong peak corresponding to a sharp diffraction maxima in the electron distribution at an accelerating voltage of 54 volt and scattering angle is 55 degree. So, from the rest of the plots, we get the sharp peak in the plot number C, where the accelerating potential is set at 54 volt and we obtained scattering angle is equal to 50 degree. And the reason being of obtaining the maximum intensity in particular direction is due to the constructive interference of the electrons scattered from the different layers of regularly spaced atom of the crystal. Here crystal is nickel. As this is phi, this is the theta, so this is again equal to theta. So theta plus phi plus theta equal to 180 degree. So 2 theta plus phi is equal to 180 degree. So the value of theta is 90 degree minus half of phi. So 90 degree minus 50 degree by 2. By taking the value of phi is equal to 50 degree, where we get the maximum or strong peak at an accelerating potential of 54 volt. So we get theta is equal to 65 degree. So the interatomic separation for the nickel crystal, interatomic separation means the separation between the atoms of the crystal of nickel is 0.914. So according to Bragg's law, 2d sine theta is equal to n lambda. Here n is equal to 1. N equal to 1 represent the first order diffraction maxima. So the value of lambda is equal to 2 into the value of d is 0.914 into sine theta is 65 degree, sine 65. So we get the value of lambda is equal to 1.65 angstrom. So from de Broglie hypothesis, the wavelength associated with an electron beam accelerated through 54 volt must be lambda is equal to h upon mv. So the de Broglie wavelength associated with an electron is equal to 12.3 upon under root v. So the value of v is 54. So we get the wavelength is equal to 1.66 angstrom. So the experimentally measured wavelength. So this is experimentally measured wavelength is close to the, this is experimentally measured wavelength, and this wavelength is close to the de Broglie wavelength. So this proves the existence of de Broglie's waves. Next is J.P. Thomson experiment to demonstrate the wave nature of electrons. J.P. Thomson was able to obtain a diffraction pattern of an electron beam in 1928. The experimental setup is as shown in the figure. From an electron gun which is set up at high tension battery, which is set up at high potential by supplying a high tension battery, the beam of electrons in electron gun are accelerated through a potential of 10 to 5 k volt, and these accelerated electrons which are emitted from electron gun are incident on this thin foil which is made up of platinum. The emergent beam is received on this photographic plate. The electron beam is diffracted at the spacing between the randomly oriented crystals of thin foil. On the photographic plate, we get a circular diffraction pattern similar to Lies X-ray diffraction pattern. This proves the electron beam behave like. Thank you.